Hello there everybody and welcome to week number 6 of our amazing task-locked Ironman. Like I promised, this week we are going to roll the Adept level of tasks. In case you're not playing actively, let me quickly explain how this works. The beginner level that we used to do for the first 5 weeks can only contain creatures that belong to the easy tier of bestiary. These creatures only require 500 kills to complete and are usually only weak enemies. Once we select the Adept difficulty, we are also able to roll medium creatures from the bestiary. Those are the ones that require 1000 kills to complete and are usually slightly more powerful. However, some of these creatures have also been assigned to the medium tier because there are not many spawns of them. We are going to see an example of those in just a moment. And so this is our wonderful task list for the week. Firstly, we have Bone Lords. We have killed those before and they are not going to be a problem. After that, mutated rats. They are also not going to pose a problem and they offer an interesting opportunity for an armor upgrade. After that, rot elementals. Now these are quite a curveball. They are not very difficult to kill, but they appear only in Oramont, which itself is a hellhole. Unlike before, just reaching these creatures is going to be the main problem of this challenge. Next up, Corum Vanguards. Their power is comparable to that of a dragon, so I believe we have this one in the bag. Number 6 on the list, Dark Apprentices. They are probably the weakest creature on our list this week, though there aren't many places where you can hunt them comfortably. Number 7, the one that I am dreading the most, the Lost Throwers. The Lost Throwers are an example of a lost dwarf, a dwarven subspecies that has for whatever reason received a super powered boost. These can be a threat even to a level 200 and plus, so we have to be very careful with those. Number 8, the Lumbering Carnivores. This is probably the largest middle finger that we have seen in this challenge yet. Just so we're clear, the Adept tasks are unlocked at level 50. And guess what level you need to hunt these guys? They only appear in a single spot in Port Hope, and they are behind a level 250 level gate. In other words, if we wanna do this one, I would have to more than double my level within a week, so that's not happening. And finally, Stalkers. A nice classic creature that we can just knock off the list pretty easily. And so with that, it was time to get going. First on our list, the Beholders were also the first ones to go. We don't really care for any of the drops, and I could not figure out any more creative use for them, so I just did the task. Number 2, the Mutated Rats. Like I mentioned before, there is an opportunity for us to receive a nice gear upgrade. In the underground Robson Isle, you can find mutated rats in the company of bog raiders. Now these guys are slightly stronger, and the island itself does not have that many mutated rats, but this is going to play in our favor, considering we want the bog raiders to drop a pretty rare item. A paladin armor, a very sexy looking piece, is a staple for any newbie paladin. Of course, we are not a newbie anymore, but we still don't have this piece, so it would be great to obtain it. Other than 12 armor, it also offers +1 to your distance fighting, and you can never have enough distance fighting. Couple hours later, unfortunately, no interesting yields. The hunt itself was profitable though, so we cannot complain. Now we're gonna stop doing these in proper order and we are going to go straight for Dark Apprentices. They're quite easy, so I decided to relax a little and enjoy a simple hunt. Probably the best, though highly contested spot for these guys is Yalahar Magician's Quarter. It's a good thing I decided to start doing this in the morning, because as soon as the server save dropped, Dark Magicians became boosted. Within minutes the whole place was crawling with other players, but thankfully we were almost done, so we didn't have to mess with all that. For the Corum Vanguards, I decided to go to a place that I haven't been before, the Corum Caves in Port Hope. I believe Corums were very popular back in the day because they were quite a profitable hunt and also offered decent XP rates. I'm not sure why they are not being crowded anymore, but that plays in our favor since I was able to finish these mostly undisturbed. Next on the chopping list were the Stalkers. There is a couple of spots where you can hunt them, and the highest density spot is one of the tombs, all the way in the Sandy Anchor Moon. They only appear behind one of those Scarab Coin teleports where you have to sacrifice a Scarab Coin in order to enter, but thanks to the Scarab task last week, we already have one of those coins. I brought 2 of them just in case, and it's a good thing because I managed to waste one of them. Other than this, the hunt was pretty nice, though it never feels right for me need to throw runes as a paladin. It just feels like a massive waste, and I am trying to play as economically as possible. So at this point we were out of pleasant options. The 3 remaining slots, one of those, the lumbering carnivores, they simply could not be done. The rot elementals, they were going to be very dangerous considering where they are. And finally the lost throwers. Now I have quite a history with the lost dwarves. If you saw my series on Skogul the Ironclad, you may remember that I had to hunt a bunch of lost bashers, the strongest of the bunch, in order to loot their war axe. Since then the dwarves were slightly rebalanced. They no longer fear fire, instead they cannot walk over energy. So that alone is going to make them a little bit more expensive, along some other stuff that I can't really remember. The OG spot that I went to when I hunted them on Ironclad unfortunately does not have any lost throwers close to the entrance. And if you're watching the screen right now, you can probably tell that if I have to hunt them in bunches along with lost bashers, the dwarves are going to push my crap in. The bashers hit ridiculous amounts in melee, and they can also make you very drunk, so I would have to use my dwarven rings, of which I do not have many. I've spent around 2 hours running around my level 500 knight, looking for a better place to hunt these guys. I have also used him to scout the way to rot elementals, and I became quite convinced that I was not going to survive the journey. Little did I know, the perfect spot was in front of me all along. With no other options, I decided to give the lost throwers another try. If I had to use dwarven rings, so be it. And at this point I realized that these dwarves, in this particular cave, their spawns are blockable. Blockable spawns is a weird mechanic that Cipsoft seems to be using at random times. Back in the day all creatures were blockable, but this is no longer the case. What it means is, when somebody is standing in a way that they can see where the creature would spawn, the creature is stopped from spawning. The player then has to walk off screen in a way that they cannot see it anymore, and then wait around 5 seconds for the creature to reappear. I am of course going to abuse the hell out of this. If I stand in this crossroads in the very middle, I am going to stop the lost hasher and the lost basher from spawning. And as luck would have it, the next creature closest to me, as I stand like this, is a lost thrower to the north and another lost thrower to the south. There is also a random lost hasher that sometimes finds me from the south as well, but he is not going to be a huge problem. With some trial and error I figured out how far can I go while keeping the basher and the hasher blocked, and I also found a way to lure both throwers in a way that does not require me to leave the place in order to lure them or to loot them once they are dead. They are still hitting like crazy and it's definitely not going to bring in any profit, but in this dire week of Adept tasks, any task that I can complete is a huge win. And with this, we were finally done with the lost throwers. Honestly, I did not expect this to go so smoothly. All hail the junky game mechanics, right? Now, I thought that I recorded myself showing the list again, but unfortunately I did not, or at least I can't find the recording, so you have to believe me when I say, if you go back to the first minutes of the video and take a look, there is an interesting item in my delivery list. That item is of course the Hydra heads. Believe it or not, these little babies drop from Hydras. Which is of course amazing news for our obsidian knife project. Deep below the foreigner quarter of Yalahar, in the Elven district, there is a place called the Crystal Lakes. A particular section of the Crystal Lakes contains a bunch of regular dragons and a single Hydra, which means we can now hunt dragons to obtain the missing dragon shield. At this point I really don't see myself getting all the 32 Hydra heads. Our strongest distance weapon is still an enchanted spear, which as you can see does not do a great job against these guys. But the dragons, they fall like flies, and so it doesn't take long until we get the dragon shield, which is the last piece that we required in order to obtain the amazing obsidian knife. Not wanting to waste any more time, I made it straight to the sweaty Cyclops. We handed in the bust skirts that we obtained 2 weeks ago, we handed in the dragon shield that we obtained right now, and then we made our way to Uzgod, the dwarf, who took our obsidian lance obtained last week and combined all the pieces into the beautiful, sharp, and super useful, at least not this week, but you know, obsidian knife. Funny enough, this week we will get 0 chances to use this thing, but we are still going to do some amazing stuff, so stay tuned. At this point, I did some more scouting around Oramond, and I was 100% convinced that the Rot Elementals are completely off limits. I do not want to die on this character even once, because having to buy the blessings all over again would be devastating to our pockets. Unlike a regular Ironman, we cannot just go and start hunting something profitable. We have to be lucky enough to roll something profitable in the task lists, and if we don't, then of course we need to have enough funds to sustain the week. Just like we did with the worms, like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And so, not having much else to do, I decided it's probably a good idea to give the Hydras an honest shot. 32 Hydra heads is going to be quite demanding, but we might just make it. And even if we cannot, as it turns out, the Hydras, they are quite a lot of profit, so I am definitely not going to regret hunting them until the end of this week. And now you may be wondering, what am I doing in Edron? I'm going to do something super funky that is borderline going to violate my rules, but I don't think so, so allow me to explain. When we first established the rule set, I said as such: if I ever find myself trapped by creatures that I cannot kill because they are not on my task list, I am still going to kill one of those creatures to get away, because I don't want to score a pointless death. I simply won't be looting those creatures. And as it turns out, if I, for example, happened to walk onto one particular tile deep under Edron, theoretically 3 other players from my Ironman guild happened to be also on one of those tiles, and one of them accidentally pressed a lever to the Annihilator quest. Well, you can clearly see that now I am completely trapped and I need to kill those 2 demons in front of me in order to leave the place. And the treasure chest, of course, is a added bonus because I had to endure quite a lot to get away, right? And so please enjoy my epic struggle in the Annihilator on level 106 Undergeared Paladin. Now, this whole experience was incredibly scary. At some points I saw myself drop down to as little as 30 HP, which probably means I was completely in range to be one-shotted, and pure luck kept me alive. But ultimately, chugging spirit potions and casting strong healing spells somehow got us through. Of course, a paladin does not have many items of interest within Annihilator, which is the main reason why I decided to allow it anyway, even though none of these demons were on my task list. At first I was going to pick the pointless Annihilation there to simply act as a trophy, but then I remembered that my armor absolutely sucks. So, having overcome Annihilator, I decided I deserve a little bit of something called the Demon Armor. Me and the boys then failed to take a good screenshot, so my recording is going to be probably the only good relic of this event, and I am also going to post the full unedited version of the event in the description. Completing Annihilator also means that I unlocked a new outfit, and while it looks absolutely stupid without any add-ons, I still think it's pretty cool to have this outfit on a level 106 Ironman, so I'm going to wear it for now. And with this we are back to our regularly scheduled Hydra hunting. Now, I don't really need to complete any more tasks. Even though I haven't done many, especially with those Rot Elementals and Lumbering Carnivores absolutely cocking us this week, with just the tasks that we have completed already, we have scored 700 hunting tasks points. With beginner tasks, the most we could do without completing any deliveries was 675, so that is a win. Despite all this, well, just watch and see. And this makes 32, the last Hydra head that we had to obtain. This will not only give us more points by itself, it also puts us at 8 tasks completed, which means our reward multiplier is going to be increased to ×2, giving us a grand total of 1275 task points for the week. This is almost double of what we usually make when we go for the beginner tasks. Needless to say, next week is going to be an Adept tier list as well. We've seen that some of these roles can be absolutely awful, but they can also be quite amazing, and the rewards make it absolutely worth it. And with this we are going to wrap up. As always, thanks for watching, consider subscribing, and make sure you do not comment your thoughts on me bending the rules a little to complete Annihilator with my friends. Like, don't. Wink wink. Bye!